Hello, welcome to PRECISE-TBI's protocols. This is going to be a very quick tutorial about how to make your protocol a little bit better. I want to take you through some fun features. My name is Dr. Anita Bandrowski, and I'm one of the team at PRECISE-TBI. Okay, every protocol, just like every paper, has a title, which is right here. It has authors, which is right here. It has a set of identifiers. In this case, the persistent unique identifier for this particular protocol is this digital object identifier, or DOI. And that you can obtain for any protocol as you make it public and make it versioned. The project here is listed as PRECISE-TBI. This is a thing where you can share your protocol document with the PRECISE-TBI group in order to include it into the PRECISE-TBI set of protocols. The submitter in this case is our very own Dr. Monique Ziegler. These are just going to be some other features of this particular protocol. If you'll notice, there's a particular image for this protocol in addition to your standard paper. So besides the steps and the metadata, which I'll show you in a second, there's something in here that says run. Run this protocol means, in fact, that you can enter into the protocol as if you were to be running this on the ground, and it keeps track of things like timers for you, so you can step through each step, and that becomes a document in and of itself. But let me take you through some of the other features. So all published protocols, so as soon as you hit the publish button, can actually be searched along with all other published protocols. And each protocol in the workspace can actually be either viewed, it can obtain a new version if there are important changes, it can be shared, it can be copied, or it can be forked. Now, forking, just like in GitHub or in other code repositories, means that you were working on one particular document or one particular, in this case, protocol, but you're making important changes and you are not the original author, but you would like to keep that provenance of the place where you started. So we highly encourage forking of protocols. You can transfer ownership of a protocol, you can export it to a range of documents, and other things that can be done. Now, every single protocol has a way for you to look at the metadata about that document. So again, here is the digital object identifier. If you click on this, you always get back to the protocol. This is how you can cite this protocol in the text of your paper if you are writing a paper. Here is a PDF version. Here is an HTML version. A protocol can be cited by using this proper citation or this style of proper citation. And if you're creating a poster or another item such as that, and you want people to quickly get to your protocol at a big meeting, there's even a QR code that's actually created for every single protocol. The metrics is accessible for each protocol, and so here is where you'll find how many views, how many steps, and when the particular protocol over the last X period of time was actually accessed. One of the other good features of protocols.io is that they work with PLOS ONE, and they collaborate on allowing especially important protocols to actually be considered full manuscripts. This may be a really good way for your students to get their first publication or an early publication, and it might be a real feather in their cap as they're moving on to the next steps in their career. So the other things that you might be able to find are, for example, materials. So in this case, for this particular protocol, there is a list of equipment, and each of those can be clicked on. Materials in this case are actually for anesthesia. So those are all listed with their material numbers. For any protocol, when you look at the steps, one of the things that you can do is you can click on any of these and provide a comment, and that comment goes back to the original author. So the author maybe has made a mistake or maybe hasn't made something super clear, and what you can do is you can comment on exactly the step where you got confused or where there might be an error. That particular person will then be able to quickly see what you're talking about and maybe fix their mistake, and then they can version a new protocol, continuing to keep provenance that this is actually version 3 of the same protocol that someone else had commented on already. So some of the steps can have pictures, and as we know, pictures can be worth 1,000 words. We don't like to have each individual step with 1,000 words, so sometimes a picture is going to be much better, especially when there's specialty equipment or other things where you need to really see what the thing looks like, as opposed to very lengthy descriptions. Again, timers is one of the other features that I had mentioned before. Timers are great, but the place where timers are really important is when you're running a protocol, because when you run a protocol, you start that step and that timer automatically begins to run. And you can, of course, move to the next step, but in your document where you extract the running of that particular protocol, you'll see what that timer should have been and what it was in reality between when you went from step 2 to step 3 to step 4, which can be a really nice way to run your protocols if that's what you like. There are a lot of different specialty items. So these are components. So for example, adding a piece of equipment, it's a special component which you can do. You can specify amounts, you can specify concentrations. Of course, you can specify durations, as you saw with that previous example. And there are lots of different things like geocoordinates and things that might be very important for your protocol. But if you look at this, it's much nicer to be able to put this in because this is clear that it is a solution. Here is the concentration, and here is the solution itself. Now, in this case, we have a very specific animal that is being used in this particular context, and that Sprague-Dawley rat from Envigo actually has this particular RRID as part of its materials list. So certainly what we have is we can highlight certain things like resources, equipment, and other materials in that protocol. It helps to break up longer text, and it also structures a lot of the information in the protocol that may be important. When we look at things like when we can open up and look at things like the equipment list, you see that there are multiple fields in here, including type, brand, SKU. You can link to the company that actually sells these things. You can have pictures of the equipment. All of these things can help in attempting to reproduce this particular protocol. So one of the last features that I really like is often you have smaller protocols that are very, very standard. For example, blood draw. Now, if you do blood draw and you do 5 other types of protocols on that blood, for example, you might want to create a protocol for blood draw that is exactly the same, and then you can daisy chain the other protocols. That way you don't have to rewrite that blood draw protocol. It's just say, step 1, go see the blood draw protocol because that is what we're doing first. And step 2 will be another small atomic protocol, let's say flow cytometry analysis, and so on and so forth. All right, so thank you very much for listening. We really hope that using these fun features of protocols.io can improve your protocols. And remember, PRECISE-TBI loves protocols.